Hey, it's Respawn, and in this Valorant guide, we're going to be going over something that many players still aren't using when calculating crosshair placement while attacking or retaking sites, and that's high probability holds. So, let's get started. High probability holds, or HPHs, are angles or corners that have a high probability of being held by an enemy in your current or soon-to-be LOS. And again, this is best used when attacking or retaking sites. HPHs are dynamic and are constantly changing depending on factors that I'll go over in just a minute. But by using HPH factors, you can quickly narrow down where your enemy is likely holding an angle, allowing you to line up your crosshair, giving you a better chance at landing your shots when you peek. The factors used to calculate the highest probability hold are in-game sound cues, teammate intel, stage of the current round, known enemy location, knowledge of agent utility and how it's used, map knowledge, and past experience. In your head, you'll begin to assign arbitrary percent numbers to the areas in your LOS. For demonstration purposes, here's a simplified scenario using color coding instead of percentages. For this example, we're going to use the alley of B-Link and A-Link. As you can see, there are two corners that could contain an enemy. The A-Link corner on the far left and the closer entrance to B-Link on the right. If you went into this scenario with absolutely no information, it would be fair to predict that there is a 50% chance that an enemy could enter your LOS from either angle. But by using HPH factors, we can determine the high probability hold. In this scenario, we've been told that it was a strong A push, and 3 enemies have been eliminated. So you've started your flank from B long. Your teammate inside Bath states that he last saw a jet on a wide rotation through attacker side cave going towards B. But another teammate is calling that he believes that there is a sage that has passed in front of TP headed toward lamps. This information will allow us to say the angle on the right has the highest probability of having a player holding it. So this becomes our HPH. As we peek the corner, we hear shots to our left, and our teammate who said he saw the jet now states that the jet eliminated him from the A short. The HPH is now shifted to the A-Link angle, being that intel states that both enemies are in this area of the map. I understand that this example is extremely simplified and may come off as common sense to some of you who have map knowledge, but the theory behind HPHs works in more complex scenarios when more HPH factors come into play. In the last example, we focused on an area that had no meta angles, and our factors revolved around teammate intel and map knowledge. Now let's look at a scenario using prior knowledge of meta angles, agent utility, and intel. In this example, we'll be using C bomb site on Haven. Let's set up the current scenario. At the start of the round, we were holding garage. We pushed out of double doors as we heard our teammate call out that he had 3 enemies entering C through C long. 2 enemy eliminations happened elsewhere on the map, but we lost all of our teammates, including the teammate on C. We are now stuck in a 1v3. At this point, the enemy feels strongly that they are safe to plant the spike.
Spike planted.
Before we enter C site, let's take a look at all the common holds in this common area. In our current position, and as we cross the threshold of this doorway, these would be the holds that would be considered an immediate threat. We can now narrow down our HPH using the information we currently have. Keeping in mind we are assuming the enemy does not know which entrance we are coming from. We heard an enemy run and jump onto wood to our right, which would put 1 enemy on this angle. Assuming this team would not place 2 teammates right next to one another, and being that we've already exposed ourselves to these holds, the angle to our left becomes our current HPH. After peeking and clearing what was our immediate high probability hold, we can now move to eliminate the enemy we heard on boxes. Okay, let's stop again and think about the new information that we've collected. We have eliminated Jet, who just threw a smoke onto connector to CT. We can now assume that she would not block LOS from a teammate if they were in that area, removing this hold from our possible HPHs. Being that we have essentially cleared all of site except for 2 holds, these become our new HPHs. From our current position, if we were to close peek this angle on boxes, we would clear both holds. But before we do that, there's one more piece of information we've collected. The spike was planted in a position that can be seen from a hold down C long. We need to keep this in mind when we continue to clear site. Now that we've essentially cleared all of site, we can use all the information we've collected up to this point as factors to pinpoint our next and final HPH. We know spike was planted in an area that can easily be seen from a hold down C long. We also know that our last 2 eliminations were of enemies who traded clear LOS to spike for close proximity to spike. Using map knowledge and knowledge of common holds, the highest probability is that the sage is holding this angle, or is beginning to close the gap between her and the spike, now seeing that the odds have shifted. So before exposing ourselves to this angle, we pre-aim the HPH. There are endless theoretical scenarios, but the fact of the matter is that you should be retaining the factors happening in game to calculate the HPH, and then adjust your crosshair to cover the highest probability hold. It's important to note that this is the highest probability hold, not the guaranteed hold. Just because you've used the in-game factors to calculate your HPH, doesn't mean you're always going to choose the right angle. But the one time you decide not to peek the angle you've calculated as your HPH, may be the one time the enemy is waiting for you. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video to be helpful, hit that like button, and if you want to stay up to date with all my Valorant content, consider subscribing. As always guys, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.